There's something different about this steak. Can you spot the difference? Most people can't spot a visual difference. And I'll admit, visually, it looks really appetizing. But how does it taste? Later on, I'll completely describe this steak to you, which I found to be delicious. And we'll even try a taste test with some steak fans to see what do they think. If you guessed its technique or how I'm cooking the steak, take another guess. Okay, so this steak is not meat. It's entirely plant-based by a company called Juicy Marbles. Let's dive in. Alright, so we got our vegan filet mignon here. I cooked it exactly how I would cook any filet mignon. Made sure to baste it, put some garlic, and I pan-seared it. And the box is nicely packed. You can get individual steaks, which is what I got, or you can get the whole thing, the whole tenderloin, and then, you know, make something out of that. Well packaged, delivered to you frozen, all that stuff. I mean, the company's great. On the instructions, it says it's not recommended to grill it. And I'm assuming that's either because of the texture, it would fall apart, or the smoke infusing into the plant-based product would probably give it an off taste. So we just went pan-seared like any other steak. So looking at it as you're cooking it, when it's raw, it doesn't really resemble meat. The marbling on filet mignon is kind of veiny, thin, and the marbling on this one was a lot larger. So you can tell right away when you're cooking it that it's not the same thing, but as you're cooking it, as it's forming, the way it looks right now, definitely does resemble a steak. But the company's not trying to fool anybody. They're truthful in their advertisement. So let's cut into it. Let's see how it looks and tastes. Cutting into it, it cuts in like butter. It does look like meat, but more or less like shredded beef, shredded pork, carnitas, things like that. So it smells good, but doesn't smell like filet mignon. The only thing that's left to do now is taste it. Okay, so I'm gonna try to describe it as best as I can. Initially, you do get this rush of like, kind of a beef flavor, more like, I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it. But then, that flavor kind of fades away. It's very buttery, garlic, has all the flavors because I cooked it like I would any other steak. I mean, I eat a lot of steak, so it would be pretty hard to fool me. What I can tell you though, the crust that I put on it, the seasoning, the black pepper, all that stuff, all of that kind of helps, and it's keeping everything together, the taste, the texture. You get that crust, and then the butter, the garlic, everything's just being infused. So taste is definitely good. Now, with all that being said, if I were to go to like a vegan restaurant and this was on the menu, I'd buy it. That's how good it tastes. And honestly, for me, when vegan dishes don't try to pretend like there's something they're not, they always taste better to me. And I can go back to a restaurant, I'll actually crave it. Now, this video is not trying to be political. I'm not trying to change anyone's mind or convert you to be vegan or anything like that. On this channel, we love food. And if this was on a vegan restaurant's menu, well, I'm familiar with it now and I would order it. It's good. And we see it all the time at grocery stores with Impossible Burgers, tacos, things like that. All I'm trying to say is when vegan dishes are allowed to be what they truly are, you get something great. I think the company did a fantastic job. It's delicious, it's good. It's just not filet mignon. It doesn't fool steak lovers, but it's not trying to. The specific group that they're catering to will probably really like it. I think it's worth checking out, so I'll put a link in the description below if you want to try it out for yourself or run your own experiments. So I cook a lot of steaks. Maybe I'm a bit biased. What do a couple of steak fans think? Can they spot a difference? Do they find it delicious? First off, are you guys like big fans of steak?
Recently.
Recently. How often would you guys say you have steak? Is it once a week, twice a week, once a month? Or what's the frequency?
I would say recently, like once a month.
Once a month? Okay.
I think for me, maybe like 3 times.
3 times a month? Okay.
Yeah.
So almost on a weekly basis, right? Okay, cool. Can I ask you guys, what is your favorite type of steak? Is it New York strip, filet mignon, ribeye?
I typically go for the ribeye just because it's bigger and a little bit more economical, you know. I like filet mignon, but I typically steer towards the ribeye.
Okay. What about the ribeye do you like the most?
So far, it's been tender, and just again, you get a little bit more, and the price point is just a little bit more economical.
Okay.
You know.
So for you, it's more best bang for your buck.
Yeah.
The flavor. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How about you?
I like the ribeye as well, but for me, it's because you get a lot of it, but also I like the fatty juiciness of it.
Okay. So the marbling, the fat, you think
Yeah.
infuses flavor. Okay. Where does filet mignon sit for you guys?
When I can get it, I will get it.
Okay. So you like it?
I do.
Okay.
I do. It just depends.
Okay. That's fair.
For me, I'm not a big fan.
You don't prefer filet mignon?
No, not really, because I like the fat of the steak,
Okay.
and I feel like filet mignon is not very fatty,
It's not very fatty. Okay.
and so maybe it's not as flavorful.
Okay. That's fair.
I don't know.
I'm going to try to convince you otherwise today. Okay? So I'm going to try to get filet mignon to be your new favorite steak. Can it happen, or do you think I'm I have no chance at all?
Let's see.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, so we have a very small filet mignon. This is a exact portion that you would get from the restaurant. And I want you guys to try it. So I got forks for each of you. Whoever
Okay.
wants to cut in first, whoever wants to go first, go right ahead. And describe it as you're cutting into it.
Okay.
and-
I thought it was gonna be more like maybe not stiffer, but like not so easy to cut into.
Okay, so is it really tender?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's kind of falling apart before I even.
okay. Go for a taste test when you're ready.
And then I cut to pieces here. I'll give one to Myra,
All right.
and then I'll take the other one. This is a big. big
That's a big piece, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. Cheers.
So when you start getting those flavors, start describing it. Let me know what you think. Is it a typical filet mignon that you would find at a restaurant? Okay. Is it good, bad, or still indifferent?
I think it's very tender.
Mm-hmm.
The flavor is there. It's crunchy on the outside,
Gotcha. That's all. Okay.
and again, it's just kind of buttery.
It's buttery. Okay, that's good.
Like
Buttery's good.
it's kind of just falling apart
Okay.
as I chew.
I feel like the little strips.
Little strips.
Yeah, it's coming apart in strips. I don't know. The texture is different
Texture's
than
different. Okay.
a ribeye, but it is very soft.
It's very soft.
It's very soft.
Flavor-wise, I know there's not a lot of fat in filet mignon, but
Yeah, it's different.
it's very tender though, right?
It is very
It's very tender.
It's really good.
It's really good.
Flavorful for sure.
Where would you have this sitting? Did it overtake ribeye for you? Is it in your top 5, top 3?
I would say top 3.
Top 3, okay. It's interesting.
I still have
Ribeye?
ribeye at the top,
Okay.
but it surprised me because I
surprised
didn't
you.
think it would be that tough.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's there neck and neck
Mhm.
because I have tried filet mignon in different places, and it's pretty tender. But this one definitely has a little bit more flavor, and it's kind of just falling apart.
Okay.
Versus ribeye, you have your sections that are more tender than others, and
Okay.
you really do have to cut into it. So, I mean, at this point, ribeye would just be more bang for the buck for the quantity
True.
versus the quality.
Okay. So it's a good steak, right? You would have it again? Okay. What if I told you that this is not meat?
What?
It's not meat. It's
When
not.
did you feed me?
It's a plant-based steak. It's an impossible steak.
I knew the texture was weird.
Oh, so like it's just falling apart. It's just like
Right. So yeah, this is not meat.
Okay,
I was
taste it
like
again.
either you did it too perfect, and I've just had subpar, filet mignon other places.
That's a great compliment.
Like it's
Thank
very
you.
even everywhere. I don't see any differences in
There's
color,
no difference in color.
except the outside. Obviously, it's a little bit more seared.
Right. So, in other words, this plant-based filet mignon that is not meat was pretty good.
What?
It's
It was
good.
pretty good. Okay. So, you would have it again.
I
not
can't
bad.
guarantee that they would make it how you make it.
If you went to a vegan restaurant and they had filet mignon on the menu, you now know what it tastes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Myra?
I'm bamboozled. My brain is trying to.
It's like
The
a
math
malfunction,
isn't,
right?
the math isn't mathing right now.
Yeah, I'm like. Yeah, it's good. I don't know.
I am happy because it's a huge compliment. I really thought you guys were going to right away taste the difference. I know you both love steak. I felt a little confident knowing that filet mignon, the real filet mignon, wasn't your preferred steak. So I felt
Right.
like I had a little bit of like play. going on.
Right.
Yeah.
I can tell you, cooking it raw, it doesn't look like steak at all.
No.
And I masked it by searing it in the pan
Mm-hmm.
and then basting it with butter, just over and over and over again to try to get that mimic of a filet mignon. But yeah, it is not at all. And then when you cut into it, I think it's a dead giveaway. When you cut into it, you can see
It
that
definitely did
it's like
feel.
shredded pork,
Mhm.
right? Like,
I'm like, that's what I said. But
It
since I don't
definitely
eat,
did.
since I don't eat filet mignon, I was like, I guess that's what it's like.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I felt confident. I knew like there was a little bit of like, I don't know. I had like a little shield to hide under, just to make sure that you guys weren't like picking it apart right away. But
Right.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
It's good. It's good.
And I wish I had real steak to give you, but you're welcome to finish this. No, but in all honesty, it's a
I
good
want the real steak.
good product. And I think from we're not vegan, we're not trying to change anybody here, but super impressed. It's actually I don't know. I mean,
I just thought it was the method you were using to make it so like it was falling apart.
yeah.
Really, you know.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me, and I'll try to fool you again with the movie.
Damn.
You guys are welcome to finish it.
Lies.
Thank you.